we're bringing in now we're pretty close to on time. Might go a little bit over here, but this is the last talk today. Tania Bobe with MB&A Realty and Jessica Boswell with the Jessica Boswell team at EXP Realty. We're going to be talking about successful personality, acting your way to success. So this is kind of can go any direction. It is kind of an open-ended topic, but it's more about how we present ourselves and how we carry ourselves. So yes, we have Tania here, Jessica here. Thank you for being on, and we can get started.
Thank you so much for having us, John. It's so nice that you put this together. It's been great.
Do you want to introduce yourselves here quick, and then I can get the questions for you?
Go ahead, Tania.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tania Bobe, owner broker of MB&A Realty. We are right smack in the middle of Central Florida in a little town called Sebring.
Okay, awesome. I'm Jessica Boswell. I am the owner of the J. Boswell team at EXP Realty. We cover all of Connecticut. We're just a small team that's growing. We have about 15 members and growing.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's get right into it. I'll ask the first question here. So, can you share some personal experiences where adopting certain actions or behaviors has helped you develop a trait or a characteristic that you initially thought you didn't possess, like maybe getting into business here, like what you didn't think you'd become or learn coming into real estate?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to tackle that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. I love talking about this topic because I was a scientist for 10 years before getting into real estate. And that's just a really uncommon occupation to change into real estate, right? To switch into real estate. And so during that time, I was relatively introverted. I spoke to the same 5 people about the same boring topics, weather and what are you eating for lunch? And then I would go and hang out with my test tubes. And after work, I would read. I would take care of my house. I would take walks with my dog. And so that was my life. It was very calm and very predictable. And I didn't really get out of my comfort zone, at all. And so when I found myself face to face with real estate and part of the top team at the time in St. Louis, and oh, by the way, Jessica, you're going to be a listing agent. You're only working with sellers and you're not working with anybody that you know because you're not from St. Louis. It was do or die, right? It was do or die. And so I said, all right, I'm going to throw myself into it. I'm going to listen to my team leader and I'm going to do what she says. And I will succeed. Just like our first speaker said, right? You put yourself in that mindset. And so what I did was I scripted and role played in front of my peers every day. I really did that. It's so awful and uncomfortable. If you can do it in front of your peers, you can do it with anybody, right? And I called for sale by owners and expireds. That got me really out of my comfort zone. I did it. My heart was freaking pounding out of my chest. And I did it. I did it because the discomfort was not worse than the result of not doing it, right? If we don't do these things, we don't feed our families. All right. So, and then I would go to these appointments also afraid, but prepared, right? Because preparation and research is the mother of confidence. And so by putting myself in these situations and really pushing myself out of my comfort zone, I realized that I loved challenging myself. I absolutely loved being able to walk into a for sale by owner's house and freaking crush. I loved that feeling. It was that adrenaline, right? And I loved being able to do things that I didn't believe I could do. And so I grew into that mindset, hyper competitive, super duper out there. So really just by keeping myself open to what my team leader had to teach me and believing in myself that I could do it.
That's wicked. Tania, what did you think about that? And do you want me to restate the question at all? Or?
Well, I am completely the opposite. I was the type that jump in and figure it out as I go. So I was probably the most unlikely person to get into real estate out of my entire family, coming from a medical background, and was in medical sales with actually a company out of Connecticut. And I was always considered the undercover agent. I actually got my license in 2015. And the bulk of I would say 99% of everybody that I work with was really just a referral. Somebody that said, call Tania, call Tania. So I would think that the one thing that you as a person coming into the business or kind of restructuring yourself and recommitting yourself to the business is just to learn to be disciplined enough to do the right thing each and every time. People do remember you. One of the nicest compliments I ever got when I first started in real estate was, I remember how you treated me X time with this business situation. And I knew that you would do right by me here. And I ended up helping them purchase their first home. And I also ended up selling their first home when they outgrew it. So it, you know, all types of personalities and all types of backgrounds can be really successful in real estate. And I think that that's what makes everybody really unique into what we bring to the table. I work in a very small area, a very rural area in Florida. I always joke with people, I'm like, that NASA picture with Florida and it's all lit up and then there's like one dark hole. That's where I'm at. So I have to do a little bit of everything. I have to be the jack of all trades. I have to work with the listing, with the with the sellers. I have to work with the buyers. Otherwise, we don't eat, so I always strive to find that discipline and it happens at any time and at any age. I have a birthday on Friday. I'll be 50 years old and I'm still working on that discipline and that consistency to really, go back to the basics and, encourage myself and kind of walk the walk and show everybody, let's do the role playing. Let's make the phone calls. Let's go out and do what we need to do. One of my favorite things that in Reside we say is work works. So I would encourage anybody to really kind of take a look at that personality trait that you have. Jessica is amazing as far as, having that scientific, effort. And she was very, very good about finding that line and researching and preparing herself. And then there was me who, I just went out there and I was like, blah, I'm just this crazy little Puerto Rican girl in the middle of Florida. Hi, how are you? And so, it wasn't until I started my brokerage in the height of COVID on 2020 that I literally just had that structure and that discipline and, oh my God, I got to get this and this and this done and really see the benefits of all of that. So that's what I would encourage anybody is to find that discipline within themselves to get the job done because work works.
Wicked. Yeah. I think for me to touch on that, my personal experience that kind of pushed me out, like I was in superintendent project manager before building residential real estate, before real estate sales. And that was an industry where it was more, I had my processes, I had my schedule, and I basically just had to call people and tell them what to do. And I can't really do that with clients, much like Joe said. I can't just, hey, go make sure that you get your mortgage pre-approval. Just go make sure that you're doing this. It didn't work. So my personal experience was sitting at the end of my first year, looking at my deals, have only done 6 deals. And I started when I was 21 years old. So like I was 21, I didn't even rent a house yet, still living at home. I'm trying to advise people on buying and selling houses and I'm dictating to them what they need to do. And I'm like, I only have 6 deals. Like I'm not going to make it in this industry. And I think that was the personal experience that kicked me into doing all these habits that you guys are talking about, the role playing and putting myself out there. And then eventually I've put myself in enough rooms and now I'm lucky to sit in the same room as all of you here today. So that I've gotten myself somewhere with that. So that's good.
And what a blessing that is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the good part for sure. If I could ask you guys the next question. So could you tell me, like, what role do you think self-awareness plays in the process of like consciously shaping your personality and like shaping your approach to business and our clients that we serve? What role does self-awareness play there?
Well, I've become very self-aware lately. So, but again, it really falls back to that discipline and knowing exactly what you want, and how to go about it. I think that as an agent, you obviously want to find that motivation that really makes you go, whether that's to be, in the top 1%, or you want to be number one in your office, or you want to be, recognized as Rookie of the Year or Realtor of the Year with your local organization, your local board. You have to find that in yourself. I think that I have evolved. I've always been competitive, but I haven't, this in the position that I'm in right now. I have to be more of a global situation because I want my agents to win. I want my agents to feel supported. I want my agents to know that they have the resources, and I want my agents to make money because that's the name. That's the name of the game. At the end of the day, we have to do the right things at the right time, and as a result, we are compensated for a job well done. So it's raising that bar and really striving every day to ensure that everybody has what they need. It might be a little bit different with Jessica as well as with you, John, and everything. But with me, my motivation is keeping my business compliant and afloat and providing the resources. One of the things that we did was join Reside in September, which has been life changing and transforming. So we're really excited about everything that we're learning and that we are contributing. So contribution is key, and helping each other is fundamental in this game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that. So, yeah, self awareness. I mean, talk about self awareness. Start a business. It's literally the best counselor you will ever have.
Amen.
Start a business, grow a business, right?
Mhm.
And so, basically, like with self awareness, like we don't know what we don't know. And you're not going to find out what you don't know until you put yourself in a bunch of different situations that allow you to explore and then inspect how you're going to behave in those situations, right? And then, being able to step back and objectively evaluate, really like I sounded really
Mhm.
jerky. I was too forceful. I wasn't listening very well, whatever. Being able to objectively evaluate those things helps you to become more self aware. And then at the end of the day, though, like we can only really be ourselves, right? We're not changing our personalities, doing like 180 Jekyll and Hyde, right? We're not doing that. Um, we need to be authentic. We need to be ourselves, and we will attract the people that love our authentic selves. And we need to get comfortable also with people not liking us. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
There are a million realtors out there. There are lots of team leaders out there too. And you're going to find your match, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe. So,
Yeah,
Love that.
I run with our team with like a 1 in 3 principle. So if there's that one person who doesn't mesh with you, or you don't mesh with them, and you have to put so much extra energy into just converting them and working them and making them like you probably could use that same amount of energy and split that into 3 people who would have vibed with you, and then you would make way more money or have way better connections with the
yeah.
same amount of work. When it comes to self awareness, for me, I'm thinking like every single day I'm growing with the self awareness thing. And one thing, like sometimes I'm quick to answer when someone's saying something. I'm just like, can I grab those words and pull them back into my mouth? And I wish I didn't say it like that. But then I'm aware of that, like right in the instance, and I'm critiquing myself, and I'm making sure for next time I'm not,
Mhm.
either as quick or as not as thorough, or didn't give the right answer, or maybe I'm not speaking correctly to, like, it's a customer versus I just got off the phone with my friend and now I'm talking to a customer and I'm saying something like how I would talk to a friend, not a customer. And I'm just, yeah, so it's just little self-aware things like that. And in every instance here. That's what I'm
And
using.
I just want to add something to what you're saying, John, because sometimes we focus too much on ourselves, but we also need to be aware of what that person is saying. And there's times that we need to give a little bit of grace to that person because maybe they're saying something that doesn't come out the right way, or we're misunderstanding as a result or something like that. So it is a two-way street. So becoming more self-aware is yes, it's looking inside and saying, yes, I need to do this and this and this, but it's also how we react to that person, whether we're giving some grace or then we have to say, hey, here's my boundary, and how we go forth with that. So, this business is a great business, and it is a business that you learn who you are very quickly, especially when you're doing it full time. So absolutely.
Definitely.
And that also comes with wisdom. Wait until you get to my age.
Look,
I
we
think
got
we got.
that you girl.
I think we got time for one more question. We were, like I said, we're running a little bit late. We'll bang out one more question here just to make sure we're giving enough value to everybody who spent their time with us here. So, last one, how do you address the challenge of maintaining like your personal, like your authenticity, while consistently adopting like new behaviors or new habits, or like, and this is a great question for someone who's watched everything we've talked about today from all these different people. How do you personally adopt these new things while maintaining your own authenticity?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we can only really be who we are, right? We are who we are. And however, because a lot of us come from other lines of work, we come with all of these awesome personality traits that we can take and expand on, right? And we can take them and tweak them to our advantage in sales, right? So, I'm into data analysis. I'm like a data geek, right? Guess what? Who values your house better than any agent in Connecticut? Me. Who can run a mean CMA, right? So, and I'm passing that on to my agents. I just love that. I'm teaching them all how to be their data geeks. All right. So, or, I love reading books. I'm like a bookworm, right? So that allows me to establish rapport with a wide variety of people. We have so much to talk about. I'll go out on showings and, we're talking about whatever the last book we read, or I don't know, like I'm cultural as well. So music, movies, whatever, things that are going on, like, and I love my dogs and all of that. So there's plenty to talk about there, that I can pull from my old life. And then just being direct, that's one thing that, that I've always been. And I really appeal to people that just need, like, put it to me straight, man. Just tell it to me straight. And so that actually could turn a lot of people off in like a scientific environment where people are very like focused on, and they're easily offended, right? So yeah, I think like being able to identify those positive character traits and twist them so that they can fit your sales and run and drive your business is really great. You're holding on to yourself. You're not letting go of yourself. You're just taking those things that are great about you and making them even better.
You
Tanya, you
want
have
me to
anything to
jump in
add about
there?
that question? Yeah, please. If you have anything to add about that.
Well, I know we're running low on time, but absolutely, there's certain things that you can do to really, I tell people all the time, what you see is what you get. The Tanya that you see in Facebook, that you see at Publix, that you see at Walmart, it's the same Tanya that you're going to get at the office. So I think that is important. And I think with me, it works a little bit more because we are in such a small area. So if you're in a big town, I think that what is important is that what you're portraying out there in your social media is consistent to the person that you truly are. My kids are my life. Lola Cash, my dog, comes to the office every day. I post about her riding in the cars, going to listing appointments, being in the office, greeting people, so when you can show that you're doing the same things that you're showing every day, anybody can walk into my office and find Lola or find one of the kids or find, me at a dance competition or at a band concert. So I think people learn to relate to that, and they kind of endear themselves to you in that regards. And I think it's just very important, because I don't think that all of us would hate to find somebody and they're like, oh, well, they're not like that. I think that that's really disappointing. So, be who you are at all times, good or bad. Give yourself a little bit of a grace. If you're in a bad mood, maybe that's not the time to answer the phone. Learn some self-control in that regards. But, just really go out there, and what you see is what you get, and be that. There's no reason to fake a personality, or to fake, you can fake the work ethic because you're doing the work to get there. You can fake it till you make it because you're actually doing it to get there. But when it comes to you, just be yourself, be who you are, because at that point, nobody can say, oh, well, she's one way here and one way the other one. No, it's Tania. I think that anybody in my office can say it's Tania across the board, just my self all the time.
Well, one thing I would say for me, quick, and then we'll wrap it up here. But for maintaining authenticity, when I'm learning all these new things, and even learning from the two of you in our groups and all the things you're doing, it's like, can I rewrap that to make it sound like it's coming from me? Being conscious of it, and then also knowing that I can only take on so much I can take on. So you hear all the things, even in a call like this, or in conferences or on YouTube or wherever, and I want to do this, and it's like, the more you start to become all these other people and their ideas, the less you are yourself through it. So my thing I would say for maintaining your authenticity while adopting new habits and behaviors is to do it slowly. Don't rush through it. Take one at a time, maybe two at a time, and then once you're good with those, and it sounds like it's coming from you, it sounds like you're the yourself, then adopt something else and slowly add to that. Like for me, I know Joe was saying 4:45 in the morning. I'm the opposite. I'm up all night because I get so much done from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., but I'm still making calls at 8:30 in the morning with Joe. I'm just a night owl. I'm a minority for that, but that works for me. So do what works for you, one thing at a time, one step at a time, and you'll get there eventually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I want to say thank you to you two, Tania and Jessica, for doing this with us and sharing some wisdom. And like I said, we're out of time, and there wasn't really any questions, just praise in the chat here. So everyone's thanking us and thanking you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having us.
I appreciate you.